in closing, for those that were more on the haven't started or novice age, which is 50% of our audience, what advice do you have for getting started?
Don't do it alone. The more, the merrier in this case. If you have a little team in your organization, you'll get through this a lot faster. If you have an association that you belong to that's paying some attention to this, take advantage of that. I think that's probably my number one recommendation. Of course, learning prompts, as we're going to bring up later, and there are courses. I think I have a link for the chat about a course on using AI for business communications that might be worth considering for some of the audience.
Wonderful. Those in the audience, I assume you're monitoring chat. We've got just a wealth of resources that are building up. Thank you, Avron. And we wholeheartedly subscribe to not doing it alone within the PowerSpeaking team. I know those on this event are vehemently nodding their head. George, what about you?
I want to just add my concurrence to what Avron has said here. Aimee and I collaborate a lot, and I would not be able to teach my own students as well if not for our collaborations, our side chats, our texts, our participating in professional development together, and just all of that work that we do together and with other colleagues, but in particular with each other around this topic. There's no way we could both keep up if we didn't support each other in that. So I definitely want to emphasize that. I think one thing, I actually put it at the top of a Google Doc that I already shared with Andrew, that I could share with everybody. Because it's such a huge topic, if you start thinking globally as opposed to locally about AI, you realize that you start to worry about things like, okay, how much playing around with AI is too much? Because you are concerned about things like environmental impact, water usage, huge data centers that are, out in the desert and they need water. All of those social issues that, don't have to do with, cranking out that email that you don't want to write yourself, right? And thinking about how much revising of prompts is too much. When should I stop? When is the AI doing it? And it's not me, the human, doing it, as we're working about all that. So my recommendation is still, there is something that was developed about a year ago at Plymouth State University called the AI Challenge. And even though it was designed for, the world of education, if you will, I've had my students go through it, even though it's kind of, quote, for teachers. I'll use air quotes with that. But I think it's, in a sense, for everybody, because it's an easy entry point about, should I be even using AI for this problem or not? Is it something that I should be thinking about, applying AI to or not? It's just answering those kinds of questions. And, they're open, shareable modules. And I just found it useful for myself, but also for most of my students over a couple of semesters now.
Terrific. Thank you so much, George. I just want to add super quickly, because it's just so timely. I, too, am deeply concerned about the environmental impacts of AI. And we actually had our college kids are home, and we had this great discussion last night about AI and its various applications. I was particularly interested in hearing from, their generation. And Nick said something that I found very hopeful and heartening, because he's deeply, deeply worried about sustainability and the climate. And he said, there's a whole lot of things that we're doing that are causing a lot of damage that we should try to be influencing and changing. Of all of them, this isn't my chief concern, in large part because there's so many compelling examples of how AI is used to contribute to sustainability. And hopefully that will go faster than the damage that we're causing. That's just how I'm choosing to believe about this. Aimee, please share your parting advice.
Yeah, I'm just going to agree with Avron and George as far as the collaboration. It's I think it's really beneficial, like attending events like this, reading about it, reading an article, continuing to do that to help us address areas can be challenged on them in good ways, and potentially challenging ways. An example, when George and I are having some discussions, reminding, George will remind me, or I'll remind him of, some of the bias factor. So areas where it may be coming out in your other work, your other interactions, you also need to apply to AI, because even though it is, a machine, the people who built it, as I believe it was Lucas said, or George, have their own biases as well that have crept into it. So I think that's important to be aware of that, question that, and without necessarily being afraid of it as well, and just being mindful of these kinds of things. And again, experiment, maybe, maybe a limit, maybe not hours and hours and hours and hours, in one setting. I think just that's not necessarily healthy anyways. We need to take breaks. Yes, as George said, the technology itself is not neutral. But I think there tends to be a lot of fear. I had a conversation actually with my husband today, and I was saying, I think it would really help you do the performance reviews, because it's one of the things he dreads doing. He said, I just don't even know where to start with that. And he's a pilot. He flies very complex machines, but he's kind of concerned about using AI to write a performance review. Test it out. And as Lucas has said, be transparent about it. I used AI to compile these ideas that I had, so we don't need to be afraid of it. We just need to be mindful of it.
There you go. Use it as a complementary partner. Don't be afraid. Be mindful and responsible. Lucas, bring us home.
I fully agree with everyone. I mean, I'm just going to reinforce what they've all just said. For your business, it all comes down to protect your people, right? The CEOs that I've seen that fail at AI implementation come to me going, I want to replace people with AI. And those that succeed are the ones that say, I want to support my people with AI. At an individual level, I think the original question was, simple actionable tips for people exploring AI tools. Stop exploring. You've already found the top AI tools, ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, whatever they are. It's AI's capacity is doubling every 6 months. If you look at any art generator, music generator, video generator, and you look at it in the period of a year, half a year, it is insane how much more powerful it's become throughout the years. Stick to ChatGPT, stick to whatever core AI tool you want, and just get better at it. Because it's changing so rapidly, it's the only way you're going to be able to keep up.
Such good advice. Thank you. And it makes me think of a quote I know we've all heard. AI is not going to be replacing your job. Your job will be replaced, though, by a person that's using AI if you're not.